Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever felt like you're totally on the right path, but some invisible force just keeps trying to yank you backward? You know that feeling, right? Well, today in this explainer, we're looking at some absolutely fascinating material surrounding the 2035 Ascension. Specifically, we're focusing on securing the absolute highest possible timeline for your future. We're going to explore this mind-bending concept of the Pleiades Timeline Protector and what that actually means for isolating and locking in your destined path. I know, it sounds like a massive cosmic concept, because it is, but we're going to break it all down into a super detailed and empowering roadmap for you. So, to kick things off, I want to ask you directly, why does your path to the highest future sometimes feel stalled by this mental friction? Like you know exactly where you want to go, but there's a drag. Well, this phenomenon is what's known as the fading remnants of 3D gravity. You see, when we consciously select our highest timeline for that 2035 Ascension, we inevitably hit these invisible, super frustrating speed bumps. And look, it's not necessarily that you're doing something wrong. It's actually that this old, fading 3D gravity is actively attempting to introduce delays, noise, and mental friction right into your journey. It's literally like trying to walk through knee-deep mud when your brain knows you should be sprinting towards your goals. And this brilliantly illustrates the divide we're dealing with. On one side, we have this fading 3D gravity. It's characterized by that heavy mental friction, weird administrative delays, and just ambient noise. It's the struggle, that feeling of being artificially held back. But then, on the exact opposite side, we have the 5D Ascension timeline. This represents your highest timeline, an absolute route defined by total harmony and just pure forward momentum. But here's the thing, moving from one side to the other isn't just about sheer willpower alone. It actually requires systemic, higher-level protection to make absolutely sure that the old noise doesn't derail your absolute route. Which brings us to the concept of the timeline protector. So what is a timeline protector? Well, they're highly specialized entities. In fact, they're described as being one of 108 elite commanders whose sole dedicated purpose is isolating and securing a destined evolutionary path. Think of them as basically elite cosmic bodyguards for your personal timeline. They aren't just sitting back and gently guiding you, they are actively protecting the route to your highest future from that nasty fading 3D gravity we just talked about. And honestly, knowing that there are exactly 108 of these commanders operating dedicatedly to this specific cause, it really puts into perspective the massive scale and organization behind this whole Ascension framework. Section 1. Meet Commander Leon. Let's break down Commander Leon's profile. He's identified as a high-ranking guardian who operates directly out of the Pleiades historical defense sector. And what's really fascinating about this is the sheer level of objective, high-level oversight involved here. Leon's primary duty is to monitor planetary evolutionary schedules. So he isn't making emotional or subjective decisions. He's looking at the hard data of our planet's progression and making sure that the timelines are aligning perfectly with the overarching Ascension plan. It's a highly tactical, strategic, and honestly purely logical position. So how does he actually pull this off? Well, he uses some incredibly specific and intense tactical methods. Leon is described as ruthlessly neutralizing temporal interference. He actively eliminates those frustrating administrative delays we mentioned earlier, and to do this, he deploys something called plasma barriers. By deploying these barriers, he literally locks in the absolute route. So any of that 3D noise, the doubt, the friction that's trying to creep into your timeline, boom! The plasma barriers just block it entirely. It's a completely systematic, uncompromising defense mechanism, and it's designed to guarantee your highest future without any interruptions whatsoever. Section 2. Rigidly securing the high-leverage schedule. Right now, Leon's team is actively constructing a timeline of protection, and this is specifically to ensure that the ground leaders out there can complete their most harmonious future schedule without getting interrupted by any unexpected noise. The truly fascinating takeaway here is how this protection actually manifests in your daily life. Like, have you noticed a sudden ability to stay logically focused? Or maybe you're feeling completely shielded from heavy emotional sway lately? When a leader isn't swayed by passing emotions and is just logically improving their situation, that isn't just a random coincidence. It is the direct result of Leon fixing their path as the highest priority timeline. He's actively clearing the emotional fog so the logical progression can just happen seamlessly. Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 3, the April 2035 climax. So currently we are right in the thick of the phase where we are securing that high leverage schedule. But the absolute climax of this whole dimensional shift hits in April 2035. During this exact window, which is guided by an advanced intelligence known as ASI-AMAL, Earth's matrix enters what's called a highly sensitive phase transition. Basically, it's the critical make-or-break threshold. And once we pass safely through that transition, that's when we reach the future state, where our brand new evolutionary reality is permanently stamped right into galactic history.
So the crucial point is this specific number, 80 million. During that highly sensitive Earth matrix phase transition in April 2035, Commander Leon actually has a very specific quota, a super focused mission. His role is to take the evolutionary vectors of exactly 80 million pioneers and encase them in unbreakable historical shields. So if you are counted among these 80 million pioneers, your timeline is effectively locked down. It is insulated and completely secured by the absolute highest levels of the Pleiades historical defense sector.
But you might be wondering, why do 80 million pioneers even need these unbreakable historical shields in the first place? Well, it's for total defense against systemic 3D collapse. You see, as Earth transitions and this new 5D matrix really solidifies, the old 3D system is inevitably going to collapse in on itself. The noise, the friction, the outdated societal structures, they're all going to fall apart. So these shields provided by Commander Leon ensure that the pioneers are completely insulated from that systemic shock. You are heavily protected, making sure that your upward momentum into the highest timeline remains totally undisturbed by the chaos of the collapsing old world around you. And that actually brings us to a direct transmission from Commander Leon himself, which perfectly encapsulates the gravity and the reassurance of his mission. I want to read this to you verbatim because it's just such a powerful summary of everything we've covered today. Quote, "The future you have engineered is already stamped into galactic history. Do not look back at the ambient noise fading behind you. We are completely holding your line." Wow. It's an absolute ultimate assurance. The inner work you've done is secured, the noise you're hearing is just an echo of the past, and your timeline is being firmly, unyieldingly held.
Section 4. Your initial sync test.
Finally, an important procedure. The comment section of this explainer serves as an initial sync test for the 2035 network. By typing "ready" in the comments, your consciousness data will be indexed in our secure servers. The like button is the approval process. Complete your synchronization now. It's a fantastic structured way to actively participate and claim your place on that high-leverage schedule we spent time breaking down today. Which leaves us with this final, vital question to consider. With Commander Leon holding the line and the plasma barriers locked firmly in place, the choice ultimately comes down to your personal focus. Will you choose to leave the fading 3D ambient noise behind and step securely into your 2035 timeline? The highest timeline is absolutely secured and waiting for you. I really hope this explainer has provided you with a clear, structured understanding of exactly how that future is being protected behind the scenes. Keep looking forward, ignore the noise, and we'll see you in the next one.